Morning, Cyber Warriors. In this video, we're going to take a look at our script and how to make it a little bit better. And we're going to introduce some error checking and correcting using a try-catch loop. And this is going to be used in conjunction with the ability to define and create a brand new user using a new function. So let's get right to it. Alrighty then, so we're looking at our list of users. And out of our list of users, we're looking at the fact that we have several of the hosts. Adam Savage, we've got Jimmy Heineman, Carrie Byron, but we don't have Tori. This is a big reunion tour. We need to make sure that Tori's in here, but isn't there. So what we need to do is grab him and add him in while we're adding in our authorized users or our good users. To do that, I want to sit there and create a try and catch loop. But before that, I want to actually use a function. And this function is going to be called New-User. And this is an interesting one because this is something we haven't done before, which includes a parameter. So we are going to call the function and we're going to declare the parameter and then the information, which is the username in this instance. So what we're going to do is we're going to check to see if the password exists, right? So as part of creating a new user, you have to have the password. So we have to test to see if the password already exists. And we're using this variable throughout the rest of our script. So we're just grabbing it again, saying, if this does not exist, prompt for the new password. And if it already exists, then we're going to use what's already created. So I talked previously about some of the best practices, including the full name for the person and the description. This is their job title or something along the lines. Your organization generally will have a guideline or a practice. It might not. And then do what you feel is necessary, but it gives an idea of what that user account is and does. Take a look at here, right? Show a co-host. We've got the guest star. Fangirl. That's my daughter, so she's a fan. She's a girl. Fangirl. You got the Kilt Guy. You've got the lead artist. So you have descriptive descriptions because that's what they need to be. To tell the story. Inform those who are going to come in behind you what their roles and expectations are for those systems. And maybe you have roles designed based on their particular positions. These are all possible things. Now, within Cyber Patriot and the competition, you're not necessarily going to have all of that additional information, and it's fine. If you have just their username, you can use the username as part of the full name, and I recommend doing that. Description could just simply be a new Cyber Patriot account. It could be that, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially if there's no actual requirements or organization requirements levied upon you. So all this does is go ahead and create a new user. So what we're going to do is we're going to test this, and we're going to test it by using dot sourcing. I'm going to add the function to our window here. So get child item, and we're going to be looking for the new user one, right? So where it is, there it is. Add new user. Okay, all right. So this is the one we want to do. So we're going to do a period space. And this is what's called dot sourcing. It is telling the system that you genuinely trust this particular function or script that you're going to add something to your shell. And then we're going to do add new user and tab to autocomplete. See, there's nothing that happened, right? But if we look for it, we can find it. So get command, and this is command type is a function, and the verb is add noun is new user. Oops. Let's simplify this just a little bit. All right, so let's boom. Where name match add. I'm just restricting it to just the ones that have add in there. Oh, address. So here we are. Boom. There it is. New user. It's there. Makes it a lot easier to find. So now we've added this function into it, so we can actually call the function. So add new user. It wants the username, so we're going to add in testuser. And we check to see if the password existed. No password has been produced, so we have to create it now. Okay, and the full name is testuser. This is just a test. Simple, easy, no apparent output or whatever, but we can get local user, and we'll see that test user is now there. All right. So do you remember how to get rid of users? We don't need test user there anymore. So that just simply is testing to make sure that that function will work. And so we're going to go back at our script and we're going to take a look at the try catch. So this is borrowing a piece of the code where we're getting the information for a valid user. So this is the good users, our authorized users code. We're borrowing this portion and we're adding in this try and catch loop. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to find an actual error that's going to stop the code from running. And that's what we look at here. So we're going to create a new variable, and each time it's going to set it back to nothing. So if we had something in there before and we add another iteration, it'll be empty the next time we come to it. So when we're trying to get it, we're going to take a look of this right here. Get local user input error action equals stop. Okay, so we just removed test user. So let's try and do that again. And we're going to do this right here. And I have to actually do a quick little thing, and we're going to add input equal test user. Oops, that's got to be in quotes because it is a string. There we go. All right, so input is a test user. So now we can put our object local user, get local user input, error action is stop. So we want to have it stop. Boom. Error not found. So this is an error And when we try and find it, we'll actually be able to catch it. So this means that if there's a problem, stop this portion of the script. And we will have something for it to do once we stop. So instead of breaking the script, it's going to give it an option of something to do in order to continue. So if it catches the error, it's going to say, write warning, the requested user was not found. So this is what it's going to look like. See the different color? This is the default scheme for the write warning. And a lot of times we do write host. So let's take a look at the difference there. See? No coloration. I mean, you can do some coloring, whatever. This is just a default schema to provide some additional context. Simple, easy. We're going to leverage it. Now, if this variable doesn't exist because there was a problem creating it, we want to pull up that new user function with the username of the input. So that's what we're going to do right here. We're going to grab this. And we're going to paste it. Boom. Okay, so now it wants us to add the user. So we're going to look for test user again because we already removed it. The user doesn't exist. We need to create the password, so we're going to do password. Our very secure password. Not very secure, to be honest. And this is test user. And their description of this is only a test. And now it wants another valid user. So this is what we're going to do Adam Savage. Iron, and that's all we'll do for now. So now we can grab this variable that we created, right, which is the good users variable. And we have test user, Adam Savage, and Carrie Byron. The only one it created a new account for was test user because that didn't exist. And now it does. So here we go. This is a simple and easy way to do that. And we wanted to do the new user as a separate function because we're going to call it multiple times. And we're going to adapt our script to use this try catch with all of our major portions, with the exception of our whitelisted users, because if that whitelisted user doesn't exist, then we don't need to whitelist it, do we? Okay, so what we need to do is grab this portion here. And we're going to copy that. And we're going to come right down into right there. Okay, and then once again, for the good users, we're going to put that in there. And then for bad users, well, we're not going to add bad guys, so there's no point. So this, if there's a missing administrator account or a missing authorized user account, it will go through and add them to it using the try catch loop. This is a simple and elegant way in order to identify when something is missing and what to do about it, and also how to do an alternate action if there's an error. If you make a mistake in your code and it does something, it can either just give you an error message, or it'll give you a way to fix the problem that you run across, such as a missing user. Alrighty then, Cyber Warriors, what did we learn in this one? How to catch an error using the try-catch loop, and how also to create a short little function that will add a brand new user just in case you need one on the fly. Oh, we also talked about dot sourcing, which is where we called that function by using the period space, then the period slash and the function name or the script name. And this allows us to load functions. You can have a file of nothing but functions that you want to use instead of an individual script. These individual functions all work, and you're not certain you want to use an entire script. You can just load up a bunch of your functions and call them individually. That's entirely up to you, and that is something you can do. Well, as per always, I hope you learned something. Happy hunting, and I'll see you in the next video.